Hi guys, Darth Deuce here, back from our Star Wars The Black Series figure review. Today, taking a look at another of the new comic series figures. It is the new Dr. Aphra, a figure I was really looking forward to picking up. They released Dr. Aphra previously in the Black Series. Must have been like maybe 3 or almost 4 years ago now. I can't remember exactly. I think maybe like 3 years. Yeah, I think like 3 or 4 years ago now. It's kind of crazy. But that figure, for whatever reason, was really hard to come by. I don't know why. So I never got it, and the figure on the aftermarket goes for pretty crazy prices by Black Series standards. So I was really happy when they announced and released this version of Aphra, which is a bit of a different look, but not too crazy different or anything like that. So yeah, taking a look at the box first with these comic figures. You do have the more like book style, I guess, looking packaging, but you got a really nice image of Aphra as she looks. The figure is based on in the storyline she comes from. I do actually read the comics for the Dr. Aphra character that's been added since Disney took over and Marvel started making comics for Star Wars again. And I think she's a really cool character, and clearly she's a popular character. If the original figure was pretty hard to get, I have to assume, anyways. I don't specifically remember all the details from the storyline when she was wearing this particular outfit. I do kind of recall how they're like, there's this like Jedi or whatever in a crystal or something like that. She deals with a lot of wacky things, but you got the art on the side, you got more art on the top there, art on the bottom, some more art on the side there. Oops, and on the back you get a rundown of the figure, what she comes with, and more artwork. And then you can open it up, and there's just a tab that holds that in. And you've got kind of that digital render product shot, and then a little write-up there. And then another picture of her. Again, not a big fan of the plastic-free packaging for this style of box, but what are you going to do? That's pretty much it for the packaging. So let's take a look at the actual figure. And yeah, pretty happy with this. Pretty happy to finally have Aphra in the Black Series, or in my collection, not being able to get the first release. I think this looks pretty cool with the whole trench coat look. I think that's cool. It'd be nice if we eventually get maybe BT and 000 re-released or something, but taking a closer look, as far as I know, the head sculpt, hat are the same. The torso and the legs are all the same, and the belt are all the same, and it is actually all reuse of the Jaina Solo figure from like 2017 or something like that. A figure that is one of the few old Black Series figures that's aged quite well, in my opinion. So I actually don't mind that they reuse those parts for this figure. But the head sculpt here and the face print, I think, looks really good. I have been noticing with some of the more recent releases, they've been kind of cleaning up with the faces not being so glossy, which is really nice. The glossiness with some of the printed faces looked pretty bad, honestly. So I think these look so much better with that glossiness not going on. But I really like the head sculpt. I think it looks pretty good. I would say this is Aphra. In the comics, different artists take on the job at different times, so she's drawn differently and her look changes from time to time. But I think this is pretty good. They did a pretty good job of translating a character that's only been represented in drawings in comic books as a live action character. The hat is removable. It's just a soft plastic, so you can have her with no hat on if you want to. So that's a nice little gimmick, I guess. And you got this little scarf here. I think this is a new piece. It is just free floating, so you can take it off her if you want to. You don't have to remove the head. It'll just come off if you take the hat off, or whatever you want to call this. Trench coat or duster coat's pretty nice. Made of a pretty pliable plastic, so it'll get out of the way of articulation and whatnot. The arms are new to accommodate the sleeves for the trench coat. It does have some nice silver painted detail of whatever these are supposed to be on the jacket sleeve there, not on that side. And you got the gloved hands, which look good. The orange shirt underneath, pretty simple, but does the job. Some nice silver paint on the belt, although I wish kind of these additional buckles would have been painted silver as well. Working holster, and then just some brown pants and some boots. Pretty basic, pretty standard, basic looking design, honestly, but it's effective. It looks like she does in the comic book, so I think it works out pretty good. In terms of articulation, she does have, I think, there's a ball joint and a hinge at the neck because this is kind of before they were doing the dumbbell joints, but she can look up a decent amount. Looks down a lot. Not really any pivot, but you do have rotation. Hinges at the shoulders. That will move full 90. Depending on how you move the arms, the jacket will get a bit gappy. So in some poses, the jacket might not look so good. Just keep that in mind. If you do have rotation, it is hindered a bit. You're only going to get it up so high because of the coat. You'll also, when you're posing it, probably have to readjust the hat every time it likes to push the hat up. Single hinges at the elbows that do go a bit past 90. Swivels at the wrists. And then you have in and out hinges at both wrists. Kind of wish the trigger hand would have had a vertical up and down hinge, but what can you do? Torso, you got a upper torso cut, which goes forward a bit, pivots a fair amount, and rotates. And you also have an additional ab crunch hinge joint, so she can actually hinge down a lot. This is pretty crazy articulation when it was originally came out with the Jaina Solo figure, and honestly, it's still pretty good articulation. And the waist hinge doesn't even look that bad. Hips, she can kick all the way out, no problem. Goes out, spreads pretty good. Sole cut at the thigh, a double hinge at the knee, which bends very far. And then you have a hinge at the ankle that goes up a decent amount, goes down a decent amount, and will pivot. So honestly, some pretty good articulation. Like I said, I think the Jaina Solo base mold honestly is aged pretty well. The articulation is still pretty good, pretty up to standards, I would say. In terms of accessories, it doesn't come with a ton of stuff. We already talked about the hat. I guess you could count the scarf too if you want to. Then she also does come with her blaster pistol. It is the same pistol that came with Jaina, but I think it works good enough for Aphra. She uses this type of pistol in the comics, I'm pretty sure. And she holds that just fine, perfectly securely. Does have a little bit of silver paint on it, so that's also pretty nice. But yeah, there's not too much else to talk about. I think it's a good looking figure. I think it's an example of good reuse. I think it's effective, looks fairly accurate, and is a good one to pick up if you missed out on the previous release of Aphra, like I did. If you already have the old Aphra, it all depends if you really want this specific look for Aphra or not, honestly. If you don't care about this look for Aphra, it's easy pass. But for comparisons, not a whole lot to compare her to because I don't have her droids. I guess with the figure that she's based off of here is Jaina. They are a little hard to tell because I have the flight gear on Jaina, but they are a lot the same. The legs, the torso, all the same. But you do have some new stuff there as well. So there's that. Put her hat down. Here she is with her wave mate, Mara Jade, who also uses the Jaina Solo mold. It's actually kind of pretty interesting how much mileage they're able to get out of this mold in this wave. But there you go. You can see the similarities again. They got the same torso, same leg, and all that jazz. And then I might not have the Black Series Aphra, but I do actually have the Vintage Collection Aphra. So you can see the differences in design between the standard look and the Black look, and you can see the difference in what's going on there. Yeah, I do prefer this look of the Vintage Collection figure, only because I prefer this design, I guess. This is how she looks most of the time. But yeah, still pretty good. This one doesn't have face print, but the face paint's honestly pretty decent, and it doesn't bother me that much because she's a comic book character. So I think it works kind of in her favor in that regard. But yeah, there's that. So yeah, like I said, overall, I think it's a pretty good release, honestly. It gives people like me who missed out on Aphra previously to have a chance to pick her up in some variation. If you, for whatever reason, really want this look for Aphra, but you have the first Aphra, it's still probably worth getting. But if you already have the previous Aphra, you don't need another one, or you don't care about the character, then it's an easy pass. So, yeah, but overall, I think it's pretty great. So, yeah, that's about it. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and may the force be with you.